Sometimes people only want access to your life just to have something to talk about. And it's not a good thing. There's not good things that they're saying about you. At least that's not what they want to do. You know, once upon a time before social media, we had to watch out for people like this, people that talk behind our back, people that lie on us, spreading gossip and rumors, and very malicious gossip at that. You know what I mean? And I know because I've been there. A lot of people, they just want something to talk about, and that's what I learned too throughout my journey. And you might have experienced the same thing, because humans are not unique for the most part. You know, humans are very fickle. They change their mind, and that's the scary thing about people, is that a lot of people don't have the same characteristics as us, being loyal, having each other's backs, defending each other in private, meaning that if I'm hanging out with somebody and the moment they start talking shit about a friend of mine, I don't even want to associate with them. You know what I mean? Because it's like, why? Like, that doesn't make sense. But see, we overlook these things because we were so graceful at one point, Like, in my example, I used to question somebody that I really, really cared about, I thought, we were friends and stuff. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, well, why is your so-called friend, why does she hate me, or why is she talking about me like that? And then she'll just say that, oh, well, it's because blah, blah, like making excuses and stuff. And then like, well, why would you, okay, so you know her since childhood. Why would you continue to associate with a person like that clearly despises me for no reason? And this is the thing, is that you don't have to do anything to anyone for them to hate you. A lot of times you remind them of someone. I don't know what it is, but maybe you remind them of someone that they hate. You remind them of a person that did something to them, and so now they want to misplace that anger toward you when you did nothing to them. And they look at you as, oh, you remind me of this person. So now see, that's the retardation. That's the stupidity of the human mind. And because how dumb is that? I'm sorry, but it's like, if you want to be upset at the person that actually caused you pain. Don't come to me when you know it's not me. So, that's very exhausting, and the interesting thing is that a lot of these people that talk bad about you, they don't know you at all. They have no idea what experiences you've already faced. They don't even have an idea that you're already a wounded warrior, and the last thing you need is more stress and bullshit from a person that refuses to see you for who you truly are and doesn't really want to get to know you. You notice this, and you could see this with any, like, you could see this pattern throughout all different, people in your life, whether it's your family members, friends, so-called whoever, co-workers. Oh yeah, definitely watch out for that. But yeah, you have to be careful, because you realize that the only reason why these individuals wanted you around them is so that you can give them a form of entertainment with your life, especially if you were going through a tough time, especially if you have past traumas, or you're going through so much at the moment, and all they're gonna do is try to talk about it to their other friends that you don't even know about. These friends, but they have another group of friends that they basically discuss your business to those people that you don't even know about. Now, how lame is that? You got to be a lame to do something like that, but you said, it's like, it's so messed up, because a lot of us that get done like this, we don't even do that type of shit to them. Like, we don't do that type of shit, and that's what they do. It's their, you're paying is their entertainment, and that's the mess. And that's why a lot of us, we don't even want to bother having a lot of people around us. Like, I'm in a point in my life where I am perfectly fine just being to myself. It's just me and the person that I'm in a relationship with, and that's about it. And you realize that the more you grow in life, the more you elevate, you start to lose people. It is not because you want to lose them, but they just leave your life, because especially if you're making content, talking about topics like this. I'm pretty sure you have people out there that feel guilty about what they've done to you, or they feel like they're exposed because you're discussing it. And it's like, here's my thing, like, if you're so concerned about being exposed, quote unquote, why would you even do that very thing that's gonna eventually, it's something that warrants it to be called out? Because a person is not going to sit there and just allow that injustice to take place. Lying on someone is actually pretty dangerous. Like, that could put a person's life in danger. And I know some of us have been in that situation, all because of a fucking lie. Why? Because somebody's jealous of you. Somebody thinks this of you, and they have no idea that you're a wounded warrior and that you've been wounded for a while, and you just wanted at least one friend in the process. But that's the painful part, is the fact that you pretty much have to be on your own, because a lot of people, they're gonna misunderstand you. They're committed to misunderstanding you, and that's about it. And you gotta take it as some people just don't even have the brain cells to even comprehend or understand what you're talking about. I think that's a great way to put it, and I don't care if that sounds mean or whatever, because at the end of the day, these are some of these people. Like, you gotta really, really be an idiot to sit there and believe lies about a person that you don't know about. You don't know this person. You don't even want to. You just want a reason to hate them. And so they go as far as to try to destroy your life just because of that. See, look, you're gonna realize that not many people you can actually call a friend, because you're gonna realize most people only want you in their life so that they can have something to talk about, because they like to see when you're going through things, when you're struggling. They like to use that story to go tell other people so that they can feel good about themselves, because we live in a world where people are just miserable and they're looking for the next scoop that will make them feel like they're doing better than you in life, until you start doing better than them in life, and then all of a sudden you're the worst person in the world. And another thing I learned is that most people, whether it's friends or family, they don't want to see you do good at all, especially not better than them. You know how sick that is? That some of these people, is like they want to keep you in a perpetual state of hopelessness and homelessness, despair, and just not really moving anywhere. They want to keep you in a state where looking at you makes them feel good about their shitty life. And when you start growing, you start doing, you start improving your life, it's almost like they don't want you to do good. It's almost like they don't want you to be successful in any way, in whatever way that comes. And I know this because I can think of one person right now. And I know it's not just one, but I could think of one person in my life that I had to cut off because, and it created a problem, right? Because, you're not supposed to do that to a so-called family member. But there's one family member, actually there's probably a couple, whatever, but I'm just focusing on one right now, that I really don't want nothing to do with. Simple fact that I know that they don't want me to be successful. The thought of me being successful will make them very upset. How do I know this? Because I recall, when I finally found a job after months of looking for one, they were not happy for me. When it came to every accomplishment in my life, right? And I don't want to go into too much details about that, but when it came to accomplishments that I've made in my life, whether it's me finding a job or me in my education, right? Stuff like that. This person never celebrated my accomplishments, and this is supposed to be a so-called family member, And another thing too that I want to say is, when you realize, and this can apply across the board, whether it's family or friends, when you realize how badly some of the people in your life have talked about you, it kind of, in the beginning, especially when you're younger, you are kind of shocked. Like, really? They really said that about me? Like, you're in a state of shock because you thought that was your friend or you thought that was your so-called family, right? And you're just like, how is that even possible? Because they knew how to hide it. You know, they knew how to hide their true feelings about you. And it's the fact that a lot of people are so good at that, so good at wearing that mask, all for the purpose of being able to have access to you just so they can talk about you like you're nothing to other people. When I made that realization, and when you made that realization, you realize how much you really don't want nothing to do with people and how draining it is to have them around. And it's not even supposed to be like that, but it is. And so I look back and, you know, you look back and you think about those moments where you realize how much they looked down on you, how much they never were there for you, or they really didn't believe in you at all. And the fact that they behind your back would laugh at your downfall, or they laugh or they speak word curses against your future, you know, or they talk about how, you know, oh, even if you do accomplish something, they'll say, oh, it's about time you finally got that. Oh, it's about time you finally got that. Why did it take you so long? Like, they'll still try to minimize your accomplishments. And these accomplishments are a big deal, especially if you're a person, you know, that has been through a lot. You've had a rough upbringing. You have so many different past traumas that were life altering to the point that you were not supposed to make it to this point. You know, you were supposed to be consumed by the darkness, but you didn't allow it to happen. And I know that feeling because I am that person. I am that person that was supposed to remain broken, but the truth is that we were never broken. We were just wounded. But these same people will go around and tell people that you're broken, you're this, you're hopeless, there's, you know, you're whatever. They're gonna say all types of stuff about you because that's how they truly feel about you. And also that's what they wish on you. And you don't want people like that in your life. And you could say, well, maybe they're afraid of your potential. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they're not encouraging you to reach that potential. So even if they believe that you have it, they're still speaking word curses against you. They're gossiping about you. They're slandering your name to people. And they're really doing everything in their power to destroy your life just because, you know. So you have to just cut off shitty people from your life, because it's not going to get any better from there. It's just not. And when you experience a tremendous amount of bullshit like this, it just makes you like not want to bother. You don't want to bother with people. You're just done. You're like, you know what? You haven't experienced any greater peace than when you're on your own, when you're in your solitude. Because again, people are sick, you know, and it's a reflection on how much they lack purpose, how much they lack anything. They don't have anything going for themselves. In reality, it's funny how they have all this stuff to say about you, but you look at their life and it's not really that great. You know, that's why you gotta let them go. And it's really not hard to let them go, because it's like when you realize this, when you realize all the stuff, man, like how much they've been talking to people about you, and you know, painting this picture, this awful picture of you that is not even accurate. You're just like, how the hell did you even get that? You know, how did you even come up with that image when this person has been around you for so long, and yet the best picture they can make of you is something that is literally nothing like you, you know? And that's a form of like mind-bending thing to kind of like, it causes you to look at yourself in a negative light. It causes you to undermine your own potential, and to make you feel like you're not good enough to achieve what you're set to achieve. That it's intended to destroy your confidence so that you can start to question yourself. You don't need people like that in your life. And the saddest part about it is that you have a lot of them in your family or in your so-called friend circle. Sometimes so-called partner, you know, definitely co-workers. Like, don't even talk about anything outside of work with your co-workers, to be honest. And very rarely you might find at least a few people in your life that you've worked with that actually ended up becoming a friend. But to be honest with you, you want to be careful with that, especially nowadays with this social media. You know, sometimes people could be secretly recording you just to try to embarrass you, because at the end of the day, we live in an era where everything is all about clicks, likes, views, and the more embarrassing and scandalous it is, the better, even at the expense of you, basically.